We have a first for the show today. This is our first Kickstarter comic.
Yes, the mega-popular crowdfunding website has been used to fund comics alongside movies, gadgets, and television show revivals that people technically don't have the rights to. Sometimes the comics are original properties, while others have allowed for long-awaited reprint collections to come out. And like all Kickstarters, the results have been a little bit mixed.
Now look, I'm not poo-pooing crowdfunding in any way here. Technically I'm crowdfunding. I'm just saying there have been drawbacks. The show Kick Scammers exists for a reason.
One of the more unique problems with Kickstarter comics is that the comics don't always get distributed. The fact is, the people who really want these comics just pay for them through the Kickstarter, and well, when the time comes for them to hit the comic shop shelves, they usually just wind up collecting dust on the shelf. In turn, comic shops have begun backing away from Kickstarter properties, and well, this has led to a few problems.
Thankfully, the story we're covering today didn't encounter such problems, as both Amazon and Comixology have promoted it rather heavily. In 2012, writer Alex Wolfson held a Kickstarter for a new series following a young closeted gay member of a teenage super team and the problems incurred when he falls for a supervillain. The project was fully funded in 24 hours and hit several stretch goals almost as quickly. Today, we're looking at the first volume of this. This is The Young Protectors Volume 1, Engaging the Enemy.
A young man named Kyle nervously enters a gay bar. It's his first time, and he really doesn't want to be detected entering such an establishment. A few hours later, Kyle exits the place and pumps his fists in accomplishment, creating a fireball in the process. Unfortunately, these actions have drawn some attention. Kyle knows who it is who just spotted him. It's the world's most notorious supervillain, the Annihilator. Kyle prepares for a fight, but the Annihilator points out that this will probably wind up bringing a lot of attention to the gay bar that Kyle didn't want anyone to know he was at. He then tosses Kyle into the air with ease and soon catches him. The Annihilator sets Kyle down at his feet, and the teenager tries to play things off by pointing out that the villain would also be outed by any type of actions bringing authorities to the bar. That really doesn't mean much to the Annihilator, as he's a supervillain and no one really cares if he's gay. Kyle, on the other hand, well, being forced out of the closet just isn't a good thing for a young gay man to have to go through. Kyle begins pleading with the Annihilator to keep his secret, and the Annihilator will do so in exchange for one thing: a kiss, and not just a peck on the cheek. The villain has pieced together that this would be Kyle's first kiss from another man, and it would thus make this all the sweeter. With no other choice, Kyle agrees and the two begin kissing. Soon, they've progressed all the way to making out. When the session is over, the Annihilator congratulates Kyle for not being that bad, though he points out he was never actually going to tell anyone. Never trust a villain. As he leaves, the Annihilator gives Kyle some advice. If you care too much about what everyone thinks, there won't be anyone left to save. The Annihilator leaves as Kyle walks away from the bar, feeling a little more confident in himself.
In case you were wondering, Kyle's super identity is that of Red Hot of the titular Young Protectors, a super team being led by a telepath named Commander. Other team members include Spooky Jones, who can summon demonic spirits at will and use them to fight for him, Fluke, a luck manipulator, an amphibious hero named Tsunami, and Flyboy. I think his powers are self-explanatory.
The Young Protectors arrive at a burning building, and Flyboy is forced to catch a falling baby and grandfather. Red Hot then steps up to absorb the fire, that is, until he spots the Annihilator amongst the onlookers in the crowd and is distracted as the others go looking for victims. Later, Kyle returns to the scene in civilian form and the Annihilator is waiting for him. He mentions wanting to see Kyle again, making the teenager suspicious, but the Annihilator assures him that no, this is just a dinner inquiry. He didn't start the fire, he only noticed Kyle on the television screen. The Annihilator wants to treat Kyle to some very authentic Chinese food. It's so authentic that it's actually in Hong Kong. He's even arranged for the Platinum Priestess, another supervillain, to not only outfit Kyle with some new clothes, but to teleport the two to Canton Bay.
There really isn't too much more to elaborate on here. This is Platinum Priestess's only appearance in the story.
Kyle will only accept if he learns the Annihilator's true name, which is Duncan. Kyle gets a new suit, which will vanish at midnight, and soon finds himself enjoying some dim sum in Hong Kong. Unbeknownst to him, Duncan received a special pouch from the priestess before leaving. The two slowly get to know each other better, only for the fun to be interrupted by a drone bomb fired by two heroes named Hunter and Killer. Duncan then reveals what was inside the pouch that the priestess gave him. It's invisibility powder, which he throws in Kyle's face in order to protect the teenager's identity. Unfortunately, while it does turn him invisible, the suit is unaffected, meaning that everyone can see Kyle still. Duncan tells Kyle to get to safety while he takes on the two heroes. Kyle makes his way to a back alley, however, he's being pursued by, I think it's Killer, and he begins dodging the hero's gun blasts while trying to remove his suit.
Yeah, this book doesn't do a good job of identifying which one is Hunter and which one is Killer, so I may have mixed them up here. I'm not entirely sure.
Kyle takes cover in a nearby farmer's market as he manages to slip off his last sock. He then lies in wait and manages to catch the hero in a trap while beating him down with some type of metal pipe. Kyle then rushes over to the Annihilator, who's having some struggles with Hunter, as it turns out that drone is also a power nullifier. Kyle then uses one of Killer's guns to blast the drone, taking it out of commission. Unfortunately, it winds up destroying the restaurant in the process. Annihilator then proceeds to play the Mercy card by grabbing both Kyle and Hunter, the two to safety. The excitement proves to be enough the two begin accelerating their relationship. However, Duncan cuts it off and elects to just get Kyle some replacement clothes. He explains that he knew things were moving a little too fast and he wanted Kyle's first time to be special. It's okay, as Kyle reveals once that when he was 12 and experiencing a moment of, self-discovery, he lost control of his powers and nearly killed his foster family. Duncan may be a villain, but he's not cold-hearted, and he points out that certain precautions should be taken if and when the two have sex. To that end, Kyle reveals that his 18th birthday is next week, so the two decide that that's when the event will take place.
Okay, it seems a little fast after only like a week of dating, but okay, they're going with the sex.
Back at Young Protector's headquarters, Fluke makes an interesting discovery. It's a website focusing on the romantic lives of the Protectors. In particular, it's all the male members of the group having sex with each other.
Yes, one of the major influences on this story is the Japanese entertainment form known as yaoi, or boys' love stories. Yaoi works are often, though not always, created by women, and they depict men engaging in romantic relationships. One of Alex Wolfson's first work was Yaoi 911, so obviously he's a little familiar with the concept. Also, since yaoi tend to be kind of pornographic, I can't really show much of it to you, and that's why you're only getting pictures from that South Park episode about it.
Tsunami is disgusted by this information, but the others seem to be okay with it, though some of the more hardcore stuff leaves them feeling uneasy. Commander soon enters the room, and Spooky begins flirting with her, inquiring about her fantasies. The fun comes to an end when Flyboy, the team's youngest member, enters the room, and everyone tries to keep him from seeing all the stuff that he's not age appropriate for. However, later that night, Flyboy finds the yaoi on his own.
Okay, I'm sure you noticed that there was that little bit between Spooky Jones and the Commander, like maybe they had some sort of past interaction with each other? Well, it turns out they did, and as part of a Kickstarter stretch goal being met, we now get a little backup story showing how they met 6 years earlier.
Amanda Charlie Boy is with her mother, a lieutenant colonel in the Defense Department, as they visit a police station. The head of an unidentified creature was found near an amnesiac boy at a local dock. Amanda tries scanning the head, only to turn up nothing. The two then move on to the boy, who's been dead silent ever since being taken into custody. Before entering, Amanda stops off at the vending machine. She then gets left alone with the boy at her mother's behest. Amanda tries to get the boy to open up by explaining that a few years earlier she stole a car to try to help some friends out. The cops really didn't believe her and just chalked her up to being another rebellious military brat. Still, she understands why the kid really doesn't want to talk to the police, as it can be intimidating. The kid begins to open up as he and Amanda split a Snickers bar. It's then that he reveals his problem. His memory has been completely Swiss cheesed. He knows he has a family, but he can't remember their names. Heck, he can't even remember his own name. Amanda begins scanning the boy's mind and realizes that the boy was just eating some birthday cake when he suddenly found himself caught in some sort of demonic realm. The boy managed to fight off several demons and somehow make his way back to Earth. However, in the process, he brought a lot of the demons with him, and now it's almost as if he controls the gates to hell himself. Amanda points out this could actually be an opportunity. Why not use these demons to try to benefit mankind and see if he can actually regain any memories in the process? She, along with some others, will help him if he actually wants it. He does, and christens himself Spooky Jones in the process.
That concludes our look at Volume 1 of The Young Protectors, Engaging the Enemy. How was it? Well, I really did like the artwork in this and the coloring. It's got that nice kind of soft colored pencil look I think is applied very well here. The characters all look pretty well proportioned and believable. They're not overly exaggerated, they're not goofy looking, they're not stupid. They're all very convincing, a lot in their mannerisms. I think that's depicted really well. And I think there's some decent characterization in this, in particular the chemistry between Red Hot and the Annihilator. I think they kind of come across very much as a burgeoning gay couple there. Not to mention, this book is only like $3 on Comixology, so it's really not going to break your wallet, so at least you got that going for you too. If I do have a drawback on this, there is some really clumsy attempts at world building here. Instead of giving like a decent preamble at all, they tried to condense it all in this weird newspaper format thing, and it really doesn't work, especially in a digital comic when I can barely read anything. Like the guided view doesn't go over the headlines at all, so I'm sitting there trying to piece together what's it all about, and I really couldn't. I didn't know what the whole past story was there, and just, again, it kind of all fell apart right there. And you know what? This book is called The Young Protectors, and there's not really a lot of the Young Protectors. It really should be called Red Hot and the Annihilator, since their relationship is the main crux of this. I mean, again, I know there's some later stories where they get more of the super team involved, so Maybe we could cover that at a later time if it never becomes available on Comixology. So I'm not entirely poo-pooing that, but still, again, it's called Young Protectors. Not a lot of the Young Protectors. In fact, if I could fix this, I would ditch that whole newspaper preamble, do a brief adventure with the Young Protectors, focusing on Red Hot in particular, then do have the bit at the gay bar. I think that would have flowed a lot nicer. It would have made for a more rounded story. So again, that's pretty minor though, and like I said, this isn't going to break your wallet too much, and it's not that bad. I'm going to give Young Protectors Volume 1, Engaging the Enemy, a B. And with that, let's see what we'll be doing next time on the Random Trade Review.
Remember, you can help support my channel at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcatproductions. There, you can request a trade to be put in the randomizer, aka the cardboard box. Also, remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.